Good evening, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Josh Fry. I currently serve as the president of the Farmington Chamber of Commerce. We are pleased to bring to you the 2022 Political Candidate Forum. Tonight, we will hear from your District 10 Justice of the Peace candidates, your Ward 3 Position 2 and Ward 4 Position 2 City Council candidates, and lastly, your mayoral candidates. I'd like to thank each candidate for making time to participate in tonight's event. We appreciate each of you for being here this evening. And to our members in the audience, I want to thank you for being in attendance as well. With that said, I'd like to turn it over to our moderator for the evening, Mr. Ryan Crawford.
Thanks, Josh. And thanks everybody for being flexible as we figured out the logistics of how we're going to do this event. Coming to the table now, we've got our two candidates for Justice of the Peace for District 10. I did want to point out oversight on our part. There are some of you that may be in attendance or watching in the future that were anticipating District 7 candidates Sherry Main or Charles Dean. We neglected to get the invitation to them in time, so we will be reaching out to see if they want to provide something that we can share through the website and the way we'll disperse some of this. We are recording tonight. The anticipation here is that we will be able to get something that is consumable on social media and on the internet for people that are not in attendance and let people meet their local candidates. So with that, please hold your applause to the end of each session rather than applauding the individual answers from each candidate. That'll help us keep it a little bit cleaner for rebroadcast. With that, you have two candidates tonight for District 10 Justice of the Peace. We have Amanda Foster and we have the incumbent Robert Dennis. This is a 2-year term for District 10 of the Washington County Quorum Court. Amanda, if you want to come to the podium, we will start with you first. And the way that we will run kind of our questions, Amanda will, first candidate will have a chance to go first, then we'll rotate through and kind of back and forth. So you'll get the hang of it. So Amanda, I would like to ask you, why are you running for Justice of the Peace?
Well, I honestly never planned on running for office. But during the pandemic, I started watching Quorum Court meetings because I was curious how they were going to spend COVID relief money. I knew that our area nonprofits were struggling to keep up with the increased community need. What I saw was concerning, to say the least. I saw how national party rhetoric was filtering down into our local county government. Meetings that should be boring and centered around budgets and funding were becoming a circus full of name-calling and mudslinging. I want to change that. I'm running because I want to bring back stewardship, common sense, but most of all, respect. Respect for our fellow JPs and for constituents, whether we agree on policy or not.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll ask you to switch spots with Mr. Dennis, please. And Robert, I'll ask you the same question. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us why you're running for Justice of the Peace.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you to the Chamber of Commerce and also to the Farmington High School for having this forum. Not many places have them, not many times we have a chance to come out and speak to you. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. And also, I'd like to say thank you to Amanda for becoming involved and for participating. So, oh, and I forgot to thank my beautiful wife, Mary. I've got it written down where I wouldn't forget. This is my wife, Mary. We were married January 4th, 1975. And for a spouse, it's hard when someone's running for office or when they're serving, because not only does the Quorum Court meetings frustrate some of you that watch them, they also affect many of us that participate in them. And so we don't always come away happy either. But It's not a debate, so I'm not going to go there, but I'll stick to this. So I was born here. I was actually born by the Foster family. I was sharing that with Amanda. She didn't know that. We were next door neighbors, so the Fosters I thought were family. I didn't know that they weren't family because we were so close, and rode the same school bus together, went to school together, and so that was, I had good memories about all of them. So anyway, and now I've met Amanda, and I can see why Blake married her. So anyway, so I've been serving on the Quorum Court for 2 terms, and then I was off for 1 term. When I was off for that 1 term, what I noticed was I did make a difference. I made a positive difference. I had respect for everybody on the court, and I had a Democratic judge, and she actually considered me an ally. And so you can be on the Quorum Court and be a gentleman, and I always try to do that. Don't always agree, but I try to walk away without a fight. But so I've served 6 years total, and like I said, being off and then looking at what happened while I was gone made me want to go again. And so I ran again, and I won. And then now I'm not ready to retire, and so I'll want to serve 2 more years. So hopefully that's what I get to do.
Fantastic. Can I ask you a follow-up question, and then we will rotate back to Amanda? What do you see as the biggest issue that faces the Farmington community? And if reelected, how do you plan to address that issue?
Well, I don't know if I got that right or not, but the biggest issue doesn't mean it's the biggest thing on the budget. Here's your Quorum Court budget right here. So there's a lot of things that we do and talk about, and so we can't talk and do all of those here. There's no way. I could hardly read you all the titles that go with the different indexes. But one of the biggest issues that's coming up that affects everybody, how many of you have ever used an ambulance before or gone to the hospital or needed help? Okay, Central EMS is struggling. And so on Tuesday night of this week, the Quorum Court, I wrote it down where I could read it to you. We just found out that they were in trouble, and so we voted to give them $586,000 to help bail them out. Now, the city's done some of that as well, but what will happen on this is Central EMS is going to eventually end up in the county. It'll be a county service instead of just like your Washington County Sheriff. Well, it's all got to be worked out, and that's my point. That's the biggest thing, is how do you switch this over? And so being retired, I've got the time to help on that. I can go and sit down with Ernie Penn, the mayor of Farmington. What are we going to do? What are you going to pay? What are we going to pay? How are we going to work this? I can sit down with John Luther, the emergency person for the county. I can spend the time that's needed to go and talk and find out how are we going to do this. This is a big undertaking. But the other thing I'll tell you is that I've got common sense too, is that why reinvent the wheel? Why not go to some county that it's already done that way, where the Central EMS is already taken care of by the county, and copy that? Then we can tweak it to how it works for us, and then we can keep the ambulance service going. Because without the money, folks, it ends.
Thanks,
it will
Robert.
end. And so we don't want that. I saw a lot of hands go up. I know my hands would have gone up too. We've used it. So
Excellent. Well, I appreciate that insight. If you don't mind, we'll switch back off and answer a couple more questions with Amanda, and then if time permits, we'll get you back up here for a couple of more. Amanda, welcome back.
Yes.
I'll ask you the same question. What do you see as the biggest issue that faces our community, and if elected, how do you plan to address it?
Well, first of all, I want to echo J.P. Dennis's sentiments about emergency services and ambulance services. They absolutely need funding, and that is a cause that I will wholeheartedly support no matter what. We appreciate them, and we need them. But one of the biggest issues that I see in our community is our infrastructure. We all know our area is growing at a rapid pace, which we're fortunate. But with that comes the responsibility to make sure that our roads are the best they can be. Our county roads are not being maintained regularly, and I know this from personal experience. My own county road has been graded 2 times this year, a partial grade in January and then once in August after calling the county. We need to make sure our roads are safe. If elected, I will get with the road department. I will see where the issues lie, and then I will work to make sure the roads that have been skipped in the maintenance cycle get repaired first. I will also work with the road department to decide what we need to do to create a more efficient plan moving forward so that we can be prepared for future growth.
Excellent. And while I've got you here, I have another question.
Yes.
What makes you the best candidate for your prospective position?
Well, like JP Dennis, I grew up here. I'm a proud Farmington High School alumni, and I'm raising my family here. I know the issues that families are facing here because I'm living them as well. I know that it hurts every time our sales tax goes up, even the slightest bit. I know how frustrating it is when you have to dodge potholes every day on your way home and you have no idea who to call to fix it. So I can represent you because I'm one of you.
Excellent, thank you. If you don't mind, we'll switch back. JP Dennis, if you'd like to return, I've got a couple of questions for you. The first one being the same question that Amanda just answered. Mr. Dennis, what makes you the best candidate for this position?
As I was saying a while ago, this book is very thick, and we all have different trainings and different learnings. But let me tell you, you cannot believe all the different things that we do on Quorum Court. I wrote down just a few of things that I had done. You know, I've gone and looked at bridges. I've gone and looked at roads. I've gone and looked at people's driveways. I've gone and looked at subdivisions that were going in. I've gone and looked at sewer systems that were not adequate and not doing the job. It's not a real pretty job. It's a lot of work. And one thing that I've got is retirement. And I never could hold down a full-time job that I had and travel like I did and be in politics. So when I retired, then I had this time and I spent it on that. So there's roads, bridges, neighborhoods, approvals, sewer systems. And the one thing I'll say on roads, though, is I actually wrote a letter about the Foster's road to the judge. And the judge is who determines the road. He runs the road department. JP's approve the budget, but JP's don't tell them what to do or not to do. And so the authority is the judges, the Washington County judge, regardless of who it is. He has authority over that particular department. And that's just one of those things that you learn after you get there and you say, well, I thought we did that. The other thing on roads to remember is all the roads are in Washington County. They're in Washington County, but there are state roads, there's federal roads, there's county roads, and then there's private roads. And so there's many roads that people think should be paved or should be graded that are private drives. They're not roads. They're not county roads.
All right.
I caught you moving over there. So.
Yeah, out of the corner of your eye. Last question. What are some specific policy points or other things that you would like the voters to know?
Well, one I wanted to speak about is another big issue, and because I didn't pick the biggest issue. People say, well, you guys get to decide. So when it came to the road or to the jail, I said, no, you guys should get to decide, not us. And so the big initiative on the ballot this time is whether to expand the jail. And I'll tell you this, 8 years ago when I got on, they needed space. Then the next 2 years, I pushed for jail space, and it would have cost $40 million. Now then, we're going to spend $120 million. And the same people that were pushing to not have a jail expansion are pushing for no jail expansion today. And so now it's going to cost $120. So if you put it off this time and then you go another 2 years, 4 years, then it's going to cost you $180 million. Another thing to let you know, there's 400 detainees every month that are released without a judge releasing them. They let them out. They don't have room for all of them. That's how crowded we are on the jail. The average is 400 a month. And they know that, and they continue to do more crime. So I'll steal this phrase from another JP, Butch Pond. You can put bars on your windows and doors at home, or you can put more bars up on the jail, because the crime's not going to go away. That would be the best thing. I'll put it over on the school. Teach them not to do crime, right? You can teach them all these other things. Teach them don't do crime, because it's not worth what you have to pay. And so that's a big issue. Other things, another thing I wanted, is that it?
Go ahead.
I just wanted you, I find it interesting when I learn something too, and so I just wanted to share this with you. Of all your tax money, and I know a lot of you, I see some that probably like us, where you don't have kids in school. We've already got half of our grandkids through public school, but we're tired of paying taxes. And so we look at your tax statement on how much your taxes are. 81.5% of your tax money goes for schools. 7.1% of that same county tax money goes to the cities. 1.9% of that goes to the library. 0.5% goes to other. And you know how much the county gets to operate? They get 9% of your tax money. So streets are not, all the county roads are not paved because it costs a lot to pave them. But we keep trying, and I keep pushing for that too. And I think been pretty successful. We got County 62 paved just recently, so, and that was close to our area. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dennis.
Oh, am I through?
You're through. I'm going to invite Amanda back
Well,
up one more time.
Before I quit then, I appreciate your vote. I could use it. Thank you.
All right, Amanda, I'll give you an opportunity to answer the same question. Are there any specific platform points that you would like to share, or other things that you'd like voters to know?
Yes. So I wasn't going to talk about jail expansion, but I do want to note that in 2019, the Quorum Court paid for a study to be done full of alternatives that wouldn't cost near as much as a $113 million expansion that is going to increase your taxes. So we have done 0 of those options, just a side note. But I did want to mention the issues that I'm running on. You know, they're not Republican issues. They're not Democrat issues. They're family issues. They are issues that we all deal with every day, and you need somebody to speak up for you, and I will be that person.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, these are your 2 candidates for District 10 Justice of the Peace, Amanda Foster and Robert Dennis. If you would, show them your appreciation. And we're going to take just a minute here to get set up for our next, which will be Council Ward 3, Position 2, Linda Bell. And on behalf of Shelley Parson, we'll have Josh Fry